How's it going, guys? Anthony from SWB here, and today we're going to be making a custom Gearbox Crossmember completely from scratch for the Barra shorty here. But before we can do that, we've got to get the transfer case on the car so we can take a couple of measurements. And for that, I've called in the big guns. And then you might be asking, who are the big guns? Well, that's none other than Alex from Perfection Automotive. So he's here and he's going to help me put it in, and then we can start making the Crossmember. Alright, we've got it on somehow, thanks to Mr. Alex here, otherwise I would have had no hope. Alright, so we've got the transfer case on, we've done up all the bolts, and now it's time to jack up the back of it. We can remove this, and then we can start fitting up our new one. Alright, so these are a couple of designs I've made. The first design that I've made was this one, which is the one I just removed off the car that you saw in the last episode. This one I just measured off the original Crossmember, all these whole locations, and then I sort of guessed roughly where it's going to be, and with the offset, which was pretty close but not quite, so I wasn't too happy with it. And also I didn't realize that this side is now touching the sump, so I need to cut a little piece out of there. So what I did was, my first thought was to make this, which is like an offset version from the front and the back, and I also didn't need to go 50mm back. I'm only going, I think it's 25mm back, so yeah, half of it, and that will give me where I need to be. And then I decided to put these sort of spacer plates. I don't need that many, I only need like 2 or 3, but I thought I'd just put extra just in case. But I didn't like that idea, it was very dodgy, and then I was going to put longer bolts and things, and I had a bit of support underneath. I said, nah, let's scrap that idea, and I've done this design, which is this bent sort of design, and it also goes back as well, as you can see, like that. So it gives me the set down that I need, and also the set back. So, and I've added this for a stiffener plate, and then if we need it, I've got these extra ones, but I don't think we'll need it, but we'll see how we go. And I've also got these plates in case we do need to space it down, just in case there's a spare, but I don't think we'll need to. So we've got all the pieces cut out now, and the boys have come down to give me a hand. And basically, it's the reason we've sort of done it this way, and it's got 2 separate pieces instead of being one whole bent thing, which was sort of what I would have wanted. It would have been very hard to have them all bent and have all the holes line up perfectly. So what we've gone for is split it up with these sort of wing pieces, which we're going to bolt up to the chassis of the car first. And then once those are in, we can sort of line up this centerpiece and tack weld it and line up everything. That way we know it's sitting exactly where we want it to sit, and we're not going to have any dramas. So yeah, hopefully it all goes to plan, and let's get to it. So we've bolted the wing pieces on, and we've also, as you can see, we've put a little bottle jack underneath to put the bottom plate sort of in position. Now we're going to lower the jack down and see if it all lines up. So I finished welding up the wing pieces to the main body of the Crossmember, so it's all one piece now. And then I've bolted it back onto the car, and now I've been working on lining up the angled pieces where the mounts bolt onto. So I'll show you what I've done with those. So basically what I've done is bolted these 2 pieces on both sides to sort of locate where it's going to sit. And I've lowered the jack, so the weight is sitting on these. And I've measured from here to the end on both sides and made them the same distance. So then we know it's in the middle. And now I'm basically going to tack weld these, take the Crossmember off, and then put those other support pieces in and weld it all up in position. Alright, so it's the next day now, and yesterday I finished welding off the angled mounts on the crossmember, and I also tack welded on this main support brace, which I haven't fully finished welding, but I wanted to check if it fits again. And I had a heart attack when I put it on this morning because it wasn't fitting up. There was like maybe 5 mil or something, 10 mil, they weren't going in, the two angled like threaded rods. And I was panicking, I was like, why? I can't understand, I tacked it in place. Then I realized because of the angle of the gearbox, when it's up and it comes down, it's sort of at a different angle, it doesn't go in. So I came up with the idea to take the crossmember off from the chassis, unbolt it and bolt it to the gearbox first, and then raise the whole thing up, and then that fit perfectly. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's what it's at the moment. Now I've got there's like these little marking locator pins that I have to drill. So I'll explain it under the car, but basically I've got to lift it up, make a little mark, put it back down again, take the crossmember off, and then drill them, and then put it back on. But yeah, come with me, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so we're under the car now, and as you can see, it fits pretty nicely. It's bolted in on both sides, and these sit pretty nice. It's all in place. And also, that's at the back there, that's that little support piece that I was talking about. As you can see, there's no bend in it at all. It's all nice and straight. It's pretty solid, so very happy with that. And now those locating pins I'm talking about are just over here. So those are the pins I'm talking about. It's a bit hard to see, but that's why it's not sitting quite flush. So basically what I'm going to do is jack this up so there's a gap there, and then I'm going to make a mark with a texter or maybe some paint or something to have some ink on the end of it, and then when it drops, then we're going to lower it back down, and hopefully it'll leave like a stamp on the mounts here. So then when I remove the crossmember, I know where to drill, and I can drill it to make room for those pins to fit in nicely. So yeah, that's the plan. Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make great. Alright, so I'm finished with all the welding and fabrication side of things. I am extremely happy the way it's come out. Like, it's very, very heavy duty compared to the original. So yeah, I think no chance this will bend or anything like that. This helps to stiffen it a lot. So yeah, I finished doing the welds on that. I couldn't really get into there. I probably can if I sort of do more, but no, it's got more than enough welds throughout it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I also used the flap disc on the grinder to sort of smooth it out, and any sharp edges like that we sort of ground down and there, and also around the perimeter. I also used the nylon wheel and the drill to do the welds, so take all that brown sort of stuff off, all the residue and all that kind of things. Also, all these little sputter things, they're completely flush, so you won't see them when they're painted. I used a flathead screwdriver and a hammer to chisel those off, and some of them with a flap disc obviously. And then to top it all off, I just used some brake cleaner, sprayed it all down, and gave it a nice wipe on top to get rid of any of the grease or anything on there to make the primer stick well. So yeah, we'll give it a coat of primer now, and then we'll paint it with black, the same colour I paint the chassis, so you won't even know. So yeah, that's the plan. Alright, so I think the crossmember is complete. I bolted it back in now. It all goes in fine, fits perfectly, so I'm pretty stoked with that. So unfortunately that concludes this episode, but don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time.